Welcome everyone to a session on UNIX programming. In today's session, we will see what exactly UNIX commands are, what are the general structure of writing a command line, and some of the basic commands that is used in a day-to-day task. Command structure. We will see the command line. The command line consists of basically three important parts. The first part, which is represented as verb, is nothing but the name of the command that is to be executed. And options is usually a command modifier that modifies the output of the command in a certain way, and it is a single character. Usually it is a single character, one character, which is preceded by either plus or minus. And as the name suggests, it is optional, and I can have more than one options in my command line. And the third part consists of the arguments that is passed to the command line. So what can be an argument? Argument can be more information and object identifiers, or it can be a name of a file. So we will look some of the examples. We will get a clear idea once we look into the example. Okay, and usually this is written, the entire command line is written in front of a command prompt, and when you press when the user presses enter, the command will be executed if the command line is valid. Okay, if the command is invalid, then the shell or the terminal will throw an error message, okay, saying the command does not exist. So we look into some example with respect to this particular structure. Okay, yeah. So here this dollar represents the command prompt. So in front of which, this is not part of the command, this is the command prompt in, and here we have the command line, and when we press enter, the command will be executed. So this is an example for word count. The command, in the name of the command is word count. So what is the function of word count? What it would do? So it's very simple. As the name suggests, it counts the number of lines, number of characters, and number of words present in a file name that is passed as an argument to this command, which is nothing but a.text. So if we have to look into the command structure, WC represents the verb, and option, there is no option here, right? Option is as the name suggests, is optional, and a.text forms the argument that is passed as a the argument that is passed to the command. Okay, so what output will get? Okay, so this is the output we'll get. So what does this output represent? This output says the file a.txt contains 5 lines, 8 words, and 58 characters, and a.txt is the name of the file that is passed as an argument. So this says 5 lines, 8 words, and 58 characters. Okay, so let us see a few more examples with respect to the same command. Okay, so here we have an option, right? As previously described, option is preceded either with the plus or minus sign. Here we have minus, and it modifies the output of the command in a certain way. So what this does, this option will give which hyphen c, which what this will do is it will filter the output and gives only the character count present in a.txt. Okay, so this is the output what we get, and I can have more than one option in the command line, which can be written in this way. See, the options are always separated, the command and the options are separated by blank space. Okay, so it can be written in this way. Two options can be separated by a blank space, or it can be written in this way. Okay, so word count space hyphen wc together followed by name of the file. Okay, so both will give. So what would be the output of this? This will give the output with respect to the number of words present in the file as well as the number of characters present in the file. So this is what we get, right? The 8 represents the number of words and 58 represents the number of characters. Okay, and arguments can also be multiple. So I can pass more than one file name as an argument to this command wc, right? So what would be the output? I'll get I should be able to get 3 outputs. The first one is the lines, words and characters in a.txt. The second one represents same, the line, words and characters in b.txt. And the last one represents the number of lines, words and characters present in c.txt. So this is the best example to understand the command structure. Okay. So what does the command structure contains? It contains the verb, which is the name of the command, and followed by there's a space and followed by optional options, which is a single character preceded by either plus or minus, and followed by file names. And some of the command doesn't take arguments, file name arguments. Okay, there are few commands which doesn't take any arguments. So file name and options are actually optional, but name of the command is should be a valid command. If we pass some invalid command, then the system will throw an error. Okay. Now let us look into the various basic command. We'll start with the first one, very simple, echo. So as the name suggests, what echo will do? Echo, so whatever the message I give as an argument to echo command, that will be echoed out or it will be displayed. So echo is used to display the message. Okay. So echo is the command, and hello world. Hello and world are not file name argument, but it's more like an information, the message what I want to pass. Okay. So these are the arguments that is passed to echo. What output I'll get hello world. So this is the output what I get. So whatever that is given as a message to echo command will be thrown out. Okay. Okay. And it can be written, the message can be written within the double quotes. Okay. So here error 105, invalid total sales. So if I want to display this message, I can do it with by writing it within the double quotes. Even that is perfectly fine. Okay. And so the output will be displayed, and this particular, this is not so important, but this has been put only to differentiate echo and printf. You'll get a clear idea once I explain printf command. Okay. So what happens is, once the message is displayed and the next command should be written in the new line, right? So automatically a new line is added at the end of each message. So next command will start from this, right? Okay. Okay. Now, if I want to expand my message into multiple lines, then I can make use of double quotes with respect to the message what I want to write. Okay. So here echo, I have started the double quotes and I've written Unix, and when I press enter, the command the message will not be displayed because it is expecting a few more lines, or it is expecting a closing double quotes. So until the echo command encounters the closing double quotes, it will consider anything that is written within the quotes as the message that need to be displayed. And here you can see uh, greater than symbol, which is nothing but the secondary prompt. Okay, so which says that command is still active. And now if I once the command encounters the closing double quotes, the messages will be displayed in multiple lines. Okay, and a new line is automatically added, so the next command will be written in this. Okay, let us look into the next command, printf. Printf works very similar to that of an echo, but with a little modification. Okay, see, one main difference is printf will, in this case, the printf will display only hello. So if it encounters a space, then any words, any sequence of characters that comes after the space will be ignored. So the printf will only display hello. And one more important point is it will not automatically add a new line. Okay, so the next command prompt will appear here, and the new command will be written in the output line of the printf command. Okay, so how to display multiple words. So if I want to display multiple words using printf command, then I have to write this message within the double quotes. So if hello world is written within the double quotes, then the entire message, both the words will be displayed. But we have this problem, right? We have the command line coming in the same line as the which is the output of the printf command. So to remove that, we have to explicitly write /n at the end of each message. Okay, so in this case, we'll get the output hello world, and the new command and the command prompt where we enter the new command will come in the new line. Okay, so this is the difference between echo and printf. Basically both does the same operation of displaying the message. Let us look into the next one, ls command. Okay, ls command is used for listing the directory contents. Okay, so if my directory in other words is nothing but a folder. Okay, so in windows we make use of the word folder, right? But whenever we talk in unix language, we make use of the term directory. So it displays the contents of the directory. So let us see how ls command works. Okay, so if I give ls command, and if this is the output what I get, so what does this say? These are the files that are present in my current working directory. Okay, so under my current working directory, there are 5 files present. And how it is sorted? It is sorted in ASCII collecting uh, manner, right? So according to the ASCII value of the name of the file, it is displayed, right? And using ls, it is also possible for us to know whether the file exists or not. For example, if I give ls calendar, then it will display the name of the file. So if I get an output like this, then the meaning of this is calendar is a file that is present in the current working directory. Okay, so what happens if I pass an invalid file name to the ls command? So obviously Perl is invalid because it is not found under current working directory, right? So what will I get? I'll get a error message saying that Perl is not found, no such file or directory. Okay, and ls is a very important command, and there it comes with a lot of options which we will be learning in the upcoming session. So let us see the next one. Who are the users? So who command is very useful when we are making use of multi-user environment. When you are in a multi-user environment, so what does it display? So it gives the list of users who are currently logged in into the system, those who are currently active in the system. Okay, so here I have 5 lines which represent 5 users, and there are multiple columns. Each column represent different value with respect to the user. So first column says the name of the user, followed by the terminal name what he is using, followed by the month and time when he has logged in into the system, and finally the name of the machine what the user is using. Okay, and this comes very handy only when we are using multi-user operating system. If we make use of single user system, then who command is not much of a, it will not be very useful, right? Password. See, each and every user has to enter the credentials to log in into the system. So the system will ask for the username and the password. Now suppose the user want to change the password, then he can do so by using the password command. So how this will work? Password, when the password command is entered, it will ask for few information. Suppose the username is Kumar, it will ask the user to enter his current password, and after entering the current password, it will ask to enter a new password, and once the new password is entered, it will prompt a message asking to re-enter the new password. If there is a match, if new password and the re-entered new password is same, then the password is successfully changed for Kumar. So henceforth, whenever Kumar wants to log in, he has to make use of the new password. So this is possible by making use of password command. Okay, we'll look into the next one, date. So date obviously will display the current date when the command was entered along with the time. Okay, so this is the typical output of date command. Name of the week followed by name of the month in an abbreviated way, followed by day of the month, followed by the time, followed by time zone, and finally the year of the year, the current year. Okay, and date command comes with a lot of options and options along with the format code. Now see the format code, the format specifier, format code is written with the format specifier along with the percentage. So plus is the option used here. Percentage m, what does this say? This modifies the command output by displaying only the month name, month in numerical value. Okay, so September is represented in its numerical value, which is 9. Okay, similarly percentage h, this displays name of the month in an abbreviated short format. Okay, so I'll get September. And there are plenty of format codes that is available with date command. So I can display only year, I can display only the time. So all this comes with the different format code. Okay, so let us see the next one. Calendar. Calendar displays the calendar of the current month, okay, of a current year. Now if I don't pass any arguments to cal, then I'll get output something like this, which is nothing but the current month calendar of the year of the current year. Okay, and as you can see the 5, the day 5 is highlighted because this is the day when the calendar command was executed. Okay, now and it is also possible to view the calendar of a particular month of a particular year by passing arguments. Okay, for example, calendar, the first argument passed is a numerical value. Here 03 represent the month. Okay, so which is March of the year 2010. So I'll get the calendar of the month March of year 2010. So this is how the calendar command works. Okay, so those were some of the basic commands. Now let us see what is internal and external commands. So any command can be categorized into internal as an internal or external command. So let us see what exactly external command is. External command is a program or a file having an independent existence in a bin directory or in a directory under a bin, which is again under under user. Okay, so before explaining external command, let me explain what exactly this representation is. Okay, so there is one directory called as root directory. So the first slash symbol represent the root directory, which is the parent of all the directories. Directory in the sense folder, and under which there is a folder called as, or directory called as bin, inside which you can find the existence of this command. Okay, so any external command, if it is not found here, it can be found under uh, under parent, under root directory there is a user directory under which there is a bin directory, and inside which you may find some of the file, executable file of the external commands. Okay, example is ls and date. So we'll get a clear idea once we look into the example. Then there is something called as internal command. Internal command is a shell built-in commands that are not stored as a separate file, and so in other words, these are the commands which are part of the shell and are not present anywhere in the directory structure. Such kind of commands are called as internal commands. Example is echo and printf. And how to determine whether the command is internal or external? So that can be done by making use of one command called as type. Okay, so the type command allows us to know the type of the command, either external or internal, and also helps us in locating it. Okay, if it is an external command, then it will display the location, the path of that file where it is present. Okay, for example, type ls. Ls is an external command, and output what I get is something like this. Ls is /bin/ls. So what does this say? This says ls is a command which is found under a root directory. There is a directory called as bin, and under which there is a executable file for ls command. Okay, and this is an external command. If I get output something like this, it is an external command. Okay, what is an internal command? See, as I previously said, echo is a internal command, and if I pass echo as an argument to type, I'll get a message something like this, right? Echo is shell built-in, which means the command echo is not present as an external file residing in a directory structure. It is part of the shell itself. Okay. So these are some of the important commands what we have seen, and let us see a few more in the upcoming session. I'll see you in the next one.